In this video, you'll learn why Matt Rife is funny, the kind of person who can use his type of humor, and who should avoid it. The defining characteristic of Matt's humor is authenticity. That's either great news for you or really bad news. Let me explain. Authenticity takes work. You have to know yourself and be extremely comfortable with who you are to be authentic. Why? Because authenticity requires vulnerability, or else it feels forced and gross. If you don't have any skin in the game, authenticity is inaccessible, and if you try to fake it, others will know. Whatever you say won't resonate because it's obvious you haven't made the required investment. So, if you're willing to do that work, you can use authenticity to supercharge your humor and the rest of your communication in general. If you're not, this video and Matt's type of humor isn't for you. Now, let's dive into Matt's authenticity so we can see what gives his comedy a punch and makes people lean in. The biggest tell of whether or not a person has authenticity is if they're willing to lean on their values when something important is at stake. Here's Matt talking about some of his values.
No, I hate cancel culture. This is what I hate more than anything. I don't support anybody who even believes in cancel culture.
Not apologizing. Like not caring about canceled culture and just
Dude, you can't. Like, everyone's feelings are always hurt all the time, and I just don't have it in me to care anymore. I just don't. I'm sorry. I have a very select group of people in my life that I do care about their feelings.
Yeah.
I'm very selective about who I do give that energy to. If I were to care about 7 billion different people's individual feelings about their reaction to my jokes, and that's why I've started to gear my comedy towards being so unapologetic, because like I want to find the group of people who doesn't get offended by it.
Yeah.
Who's such a prominent part of my every day I wake up, it's something new. It just I think it all comes down to your intent. I think you can joke. There is not a single topic in the entire world you cannot make a joke about if it's done correctly.
He's intolerant of cancel culture, and he knows himself well enough to weather the storm required to live out that value, regardless of who is offended. If he tiptoed around sensitive subjects, his comedy wouldn't have any weight. Similarly, if he only chased the money, he'd be shooting himself in the foot.
But now I am having to weed through those and find the real comedy fans, because that's what I've been working so hard for the past 12 years. You know?
Right. How do you do that? Like, you just...
I was talking to my best friend and tour manager the other day about how easy it would be for me to just go on stage and play into the whole I'm a young boy, we lift my shirt up or whatever, and like play to the female audience, and like I could have uproarious standing ovation.
Sure.
And it would be a great show for exactly what they probably want, but I'd be miserable with myself.
You'd be miserable?
That's not what I want to do.
And here's him talking about how stepping into his authenticity poured rocket fuel on his success.
Like you mentioned, I like dark humor. I like to push the boundaries, but that's my sense of humor, you know? Like, if people come to the show and they leave going, oh, that's not what I thought it was going to be, that's fine. But you know what I did find in taking that risk? People who really like my humor. And if it's 30% of the crowd, awesome. If I'm doing, if it's a 3,000-seat theater, I just made 1,000 new, like, hardcore fans for the long run. Right. I'm not in it for, like, the short term, this one tour, and then that's it. I want to build lifelong fans. You can only do that by being true to yourself and doing your style of humor. You can't build longevity by pandering, because it's not who you really are. And eventually that's going to come out. You're going to get sick of putting on this facade every time. Of course.
An important distinction to make here is that authenticity doesn't mean be a jerk. It means be true to your values, which Matt does a good job of in this clip.
And I told him to run because I was being a petty asshole. I regret saying that. Pete, if you're out there, sorry I said that. Kate, I also apologize that I said that. I shouldn't have said that.
He refuses to apologize for offending people with jokes, but he's willing to own it when he does something wrong. Authenticity isn't something that's easy to put your finger on, but you always know when it's missing. Lack of authenticity turns everything you say and do to plastic. It makes you fake and repulsive. If you want more authenticity in your humor, you need to know who you are and get extremely comfortable with yourself. So much so that it's more uncomfortable for you to fake it than it is to ruffle feathers. The first step to becoming that version of yourself is knowing your values. Most people don't. That's part of the reason comedians hold a special place in society. For all their flaws, most of them know who they are and are magnetic, even the ones that don't look like Matt. If you don't know your core values, I have something for you. I created a totally free workbook you can download via the link in the description. This psychology-based workbook will walk you through the entire process of uncovering and defining your core values. If you're not willing to know yourself on this deep of a level, it's not that authenticity wouldn't be a powerful addition to your communication toolbox, it's that you won't have access to it. But if you made it this far, that's probably not you. You're willing to lean in and know yourself. And if you do that, you can build the same magnetic quality as Matt. If this video is helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow. I'll see you next time.